What's up, guys? It's Keith Kelfis with the On Track Podcast. You're going to want to stop what you're doing because this is the show of all shows. We have Joshua Latimer. He is the founder of F.R.A.P. You're going to find out what that is, and you're going to learn how to double your business this year with F.R.A.P. Josh is going to take it away. I've been friends with Josh for over a decade now. The guy has coached over 1,000 businesses, probably 2,000 at this point, and he's built multiple seven-figure businesses. He's sold businesses. He's built coaching groups. He specializes in something called decentralized coaching. He's going to teach you that. But most importantly, you're going to learn how to double your business this year if you just do a couple of the things that he says. Real quick, he's a serial entrepreneur, a speaker, and business strategist who's built multiple seven-figure companies in the home service industry. He originally made his mark in the window cleaning and pressure washing world, where he grew his company to over $1 million in revenue, or $186,000 a month, which is more than that. And what makes Josh's unique, let me take these aligners out of my teeth. Now you can hear me. What makes Josh unique is the frameworks that he developed and develops for business owners. He's truly a brilliant guy, and he's a family man. He loves God, and he's one of my best friends ever. Joshua Latimer, what's up, brother?
What's up, Keith? You don't have to do the make Josh sound super fancy stuff if you don't want.
It's fun, though.
Makes me feel weird. Yeah, but we stay busy. I have 3 dogs, 5 kids. I know that I have 5 kids, but we're busy. We're doing F.R.A.P. We're doing business. This stuff is actually really simple. I don't like internet guru people at all. Like, they bother me. So hopefully we can help some people with some simple stuff they can do right now.
I love it. So, sorry, we had a technical glitch real quick, but I fixed it. All right, I'm excited, bro. What can people do right now, and what is this whole F.R.A.P. thing about?
Maybe before I explain F.R.A.P., I'll explain why it matters, because that's the most important thing. Because if you don't have context, then the content doesn't hit the same, right? So I started in a trailer park. Not that you care about that, but I know that there's people that have humble beginnings. They're struggling, and it's getting increasingly hard because of the economy. And I'm actually optimistic on what's going to ultimately happen with the economy going forward from right now, but we don't know. But I do know that costs have went up a lot. Like, everything's more. Insurances went way up. Fuel right now at the time of the recording, went up. The amount you have to pay your staff went up. Equipment, all of your vendors, all of your suppliers, it's out of control. And what's happening is good-hearted, hardworking people that have a business, they're getting their lunch money taken by this truth. And they're not raising prices. They don't understand persuasion. They don't understand choreography. And their business model is all jacked up on accident. And a lot of the people that I run across, they're almost running a nonprofit on accident, like not by choice. You know what I mean? And nonprofits are cool, but if you want to do that, go do that. If you have a business, you have to make a profit. The definitional purpose of a business is to make a profit for the shareholders. If you own it by yourself, you're the only shareholder. If we were the CEO of a public company, most small business owners would get fired super fast because they're not returning profit to the shareholders. They're breaking their fiduciary to themselves, to their family, and they don't mean to, but it's painful and it's horrible, and your nervous system feels it, and the chest pains, you feel it, and your marriage is affected by it. And I had a lady, she does custom countertop fabrication, and yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, breakdown crying on one of our calls that we run at our company, because she had no money. She was in debt up to her eyeballs. She couldn't even afford this product that she bought from us. We actually scholarshiped it to her, which we do a lot, actually, because we care a lot about people in these situations. She started bawling her eyes out because she, in the last 6 months, has accumulated $50,000 in her business account, which to her might as well be $1 million, right? And she was crying because she said for the first time, she realized she hasn't looked at her business line of credit in 6 months since she started using F.R.A.P. It's like a big deal. And the money's one part, but the marriage not falling apart is a more important part. And so everybody talks about money and gurus and funnels and make $1 bajillion and get your rented Lambo. And all that crap is nonsense. Step one is you have to have profitable unit economics, or you can't even succeed in a business at all. It doesn't work. The math has to math. And people are scared to look at that. And that's what F.R.A.P is for. F.R.A.P doesn't cost any money to implement. It costs creativity to implement. And I'd be happy to like walk you through what it is and how it works. But as an owner, man, if there's one thing you do this year, I don't care if you stop all of your advertising. I don't care like if you buy a piece of equipment or not, or hire your next employee or not. Like nothing matters more than understanding the unit economics, meaning the profitability of an average customer as they move through your business. That has to be correct, or everything else, nothing else will work. And one more caveat. So people like Tommy Mello, who's like the rock star of home service, right? I met Tommy quite a while ago, but he still had a $26 million business at the time when I met him. And they do like 300 million. He's a billionaire now, right? He's like a home service billionaire. It's like, what? The only reason he's even able to do that is because he has very strong F.R.A.P. That's why. It doesn't work if you don't. It's just math, right? Business is behavioral psychology and math. That's it. That's what it is. And you have the psychology for yourself, and you have the psychology for your marketing, and that's what F.R.A.P is about. It's an acronym, and I'll just leave that as the opener. But I hope people understand, if you want to have a life that other people typically don't have, you have to know things other people don't know, and that's what this is.
Dude, you've actually sent me, we talk back and forth on Voxer sometime. Guys that listening, Josh has sent me a message before on Voxer, like I have this business conundrum or something, and I'll express it all to him, and he'll send me like a 3-minute and 46-second message back, and I'll listen to the message, but then I'll listen to it again, and I'll listen to it 3, 4, 5 times, because if you listen to what he's actually saying, it's the real thing. And I was kind of excited as you were talking, because I had this little epiphany. If you wake up on the right side of the bed and you got perfectly, like you got 9 hours of sleep, and your cup of coffee was perfect, and the sun was shining, and there was no drama, and let's say you go over to take your thumb and you turn on the light switch, or your finger, the light switch turns on, because it's like the system is wired. You didn't invent the light bulbs or the sockets, like the system. But let's say you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you got 3 hours of sleep, there's a bunch of drama going on, employees didn't show up, and you go in your total panic mode, and you still turn on the light switch. What does it do? It still turns on. So that's that little epiphany I had, is like there's levers that can pull regardless of what. When you said the word nervous system, that's what came into play. It's like it's almost like you're showing people they can reach through that fog, that brain fog, or all their stories or excuses, and still start to pull levers that will get them results where they go, oh, what? Like, does it make sense?
Yeah, 100% it does. Yeah, the nervous system, it's a real thing, at least for me. I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but you can feel it in your body when things are broken. And, we're tough. Like, small business owners are tough. So you'll suppress it. It always comes up eventually. Like, there's a breaking point. One thing no one talks about in home services is how big addictions are, like alcoholism, drug abuse, all of it, anything, because the pressure of a business is really real. People that work a 9-to-5 job, they don't understand. And that's not a slight to them. It's not that they don't understand. They can't understand. The only way to know what I'm talking about right now is to have lived it. It's to make a payroll for someone else when you skip it for yourself. It's one thing to intellectually know that. It's another thing to do that. It's one thing to feel like a failure. It's another thing to live for an extended period of time while you're failing, when nothing's working. The math isn't mathing. Your wife is stressed out. Your bills are, and then you get a new invoice, or a piece of equipment breaks, or like one thing goes wrong and it's a tailspin. And that's what it feels like, especially for small companies, because I always tell people, stay small or go big, but don't go in the middle. Like, the middle is the death zone. Okay. And what'll happen is you get around a couple $100,000 of revenue up to like 5, 6, 700,000 of revenue, depends on the business. And it's impossibly hard. But if you get the F.R.A.P correct, you can get through the middle faster, and then things get easier. Because one of the ironies of all this is how much easier it is to run a multi-million-dollar business than it is to run a $200,000 business or a $500,000 business. It's literally actually easier. You get paid 10 times more, and it's easier. but it doesn't feel real when you're in the the pit. You're in the sludge of trying to figure it out. And if you're going to figure it out, the only it you really need to worry about is FRAP. Because you figure that out, everything else will work. It's literally the big domino for everything, for all of your employee problems, all of your lead generation problems, all of your marketing problems, all of your scale, equipment, capital expense problems, all of it, your own mental health, your family's mental health, all the pressure at home, all of it gets knocked over through one domino called FRAP.
So, wow. So you've coached a lot of businesses. Have you ever been telling them this, and then you're telling them the friggin' answer, and they're like, yeah, but you don't understand. And they're so attached to their story and
Yeah.
their pain and suffering, because every time they've tried to grow their business themselves, they run into all this pain. Like, I haven't grown a super huge business because I'm terrified of letting people down. I've bitten off more than I could chew before.
I don't think everyone
And
should grow a big business, but I
ooh,
think everyone should have a super profitable business.
yes.
I'm a huge fan of a small artisan, insanely profitable business. It's like a dream. And everyone online is like, $1 million, $1 million. What are you talking about? That's not for everybody. A lot of people make that their goal. I call it a placeholder goal because they think that's what they're supposed to want. But they don't want it. Some people want to do ministry, or they want to be a T-ball coach or something. Like, what's wrong with having a $200,000 business where you keep 150? That's kind of cool. And you work part-time. What if you could make as much as a doctor, but work 20 hours a week, right? Like that can happen even if you don't scale. It's not all about more and more scale. FRAP isn't about that. FRAP is about profitability, which gives you choices. And you can take the profitability and play small on purpose, or you can go big. Like, it's up to you. There's not a wrong answer, and don't let anyone tell you any different.
Austin Douglas Ditch the Itch just jumped and he said, I forgot what FRAP stands for.
FRAP.
Frequency.
Austin Douglas, what's up, Austin? It's an acronym. So yeah, let's start there. So it's really, really boringly simple. Here's the risk, though. I'm going to tell you what the acronym stands for. Don't think that you know what I mean, though. You know, Myron Golden is one of my favorite people to learn from. And he's actually writing the foreword in my book on FRAP, which is like, what? He just texted me back yesterday. He's officially going to do it. But his quote is that the biggest threat to learning is thinking that you already know. The biggest threat to learning is thinking that you already know. And the words for FRAP, the acronym, are very, very simple. So it's easy to remember. But the depth of how you do each of these pieces is like so mind-blowingly cool. So pay attention to it. Don't let me lose you on the acronym. But the acronym stands for frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. Frequency, referrals, average ticket, and pricing. That's FRAP. When we implement FRAP, we do it backwards. We start with the P and we go backwards, right? And I didn't want to call it PARF, so we call it FRAP. But we actually implement FRAP with pricing as the first domino. It's the first move. And, you know, the super simple kind of advice is raise your prices yesterday. But that's like oversimplified, because where people screw it up is they don't raise their prices enough, or they raise their prices once a year or two, right? Or they just, you know, the way they execute the price raise is clunky, and then they get scared and they shrink back. But when you understand choreography, okay, imagine the word FRAP, and wrapped around it like a blanket is this blanket called choreography. When you get that, everything starts to unlock. Can I give you like a super simple example for pricing?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to raise your prices. And even if you did raise your prices, it's almost a certainty you didn't do it enough. And it's not about price gouging people. It's the fact that, you know, year over year, if you raise your price 10% this year, you didn't even do anything. All you did was cover the increased cost of existing in 2026 instead of 2025. So you actually didn't even increase profitability, probably, right? So we need to go higher. But when people do raise their prices, they feel super guilty. They feel like shameful, right? I mean, I felt this. And they feel like they're a filthy, naughty person. And then what they do is they like make an announcement to their customers, for example. Not everybody, but this is common. And they're like apologizing or they'll be like, Josh, I have to send a letter to my customers or an email. And then I'll read their email and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so bad. It's because they don't understand the choreography of a price increase. It's not just a number, it's a strategy. Okay. And there's art in the way that you do the price increase, right? So I'll look at their thing and it's usually something like, dear Mr. Client, I am a filthy, rotten person. And they're like, they're whipping themselves like, I'm a filthy, naughty boy. And they're like, I'm so sorry. I have to raise my price. And I had no choice. Please don't quit. Please don't leave. And that's what it feels like when you read this letter. And I'm like, no. I'm like, here's one super simple example of how to reframe a price increase. This is just one. There's hundreds of these. You say, first of all, you don't have to even announce it usually. But if you want to, that's okay. But here's how we do it. We send an email and the subject line says, account update - great news. Even better subject line would have capital R, capital E, colon, space, account update, space - great news. Okay. ... That's like the subject line. Okay. So it looks like a replied email. So capital RE, account update, great news. That's the first step of the core. Then more people are going to open the email. But it's got a positive frame. They're like, great news, account update. Oh, okay. So they click to read it. Well, what does it say? Does it say I'm a naughty boy? I'm so sorry. Please don't fire me. I have to raise my prices. No. What it says is, hey, Lisa, we have 3 exciting announcements going into 2026, for example. Announcement number 1, all of our customers, including you, have all been automatically upgraded to our new personal property protection guarantee. We just wanted to let you know you're even more protected than before. Announcement number 2, all of the customers that we have that choose any of our regular service get to pick one of 3 different bonuses at no additional charge this year. It's our way of saying thank you for being a loyal customer. Account update number 3. Earlier this year, we were almost certain that we'd have to raise our prices by almost 30% due to inflation and rising costs with our vendors. However, we sharpened our pencils and figured out a way how to reduce that by half. Okay.
Price juxtaposition.
And it's like, if you have any questions, let me know. Excited to see you this year. High five. Sincerely, Josh, the pencil sharpener Latimer, right? That is what's known as choreography. That's framing. It's framing. Everything is marketing. Marketing is everything. Everything is framing and pacing and the tone and the way that you explain, the way you articulate. All the people that make all the money know this stuff, and all the people that don't struggle. And it's not because these people are smarter than you. It's not because I'm smart. I went to community college for like 5 minutes. I stopped by. It wasn't for me. I lived in a trailer park and delivered pizzas. This is all learnable. Like, you can learn it. If you have ears and eyeballs, you're fine. You can learn it. It takes a little courage, but mostly it just takes understanding. It takes real mastery over learning this stuff. And that's just one ingredient of one part of one letter of F.R.A.P. And so doing that's very empowering. And pricing, if I can keep going, I'm sorry to ramble. I'm just very passionate about this. Pricing is the number one most important thing to put immediate extra money in your own pocket, right? Like, think of it like this. If your business does 100 grand a month and you only keep 10,000 of it, you have a 10%, net profit. Okay. If you raised your prices 20%, what would happen? Well, a lot of things might happen. If I was the one that did it, probably nothing would happen, because I would frame it a certain way and include additional, but like, I would do it in a way where it didn't affect anything, right? The only difference would be is that my version of it is I would have collected 120,000 that same month instead of you collected 100,000, right? You follow me so far? You made 10,000. How much did I make? I made 30,000. My 20% price increase, it doesn't raise my profit up by 20%. It raised it by 300%. Because every penny you charge above and beyond what you currently charge, in most cases, all of it goes in your pocket. The entire $20,000 extra price, all of it goes to me, right? Because business owners get paid on the back end of the dollar. We get paid on the fourth week of the month. We get paid. So what we do is people are pricing themselves to death plus 5%, like survival plus one cheeseburger every 2 weeks. Like they're just there. And if we can just go a little more, you get to keep all of it. And so it's like complete unnecessary suffering. And you know, I don't know. Where do you want to take it from there?
Dude, this type of talk can, I mean, as deep as saving marriages, as deep as
It is.
somebody not being stressed out about the brakes need to be fixed on the car or new transfer. They could just go buy a brand new car at the car lot and be like upgrade lifestyle from. Anyways, I watched all that stuff happen in my life, and it's amazing.
A couple years ago, I don't talk about this very much, but a couple years ago, a guy was in one of our programs, and I just met him. He's only in there a couple months, and he was learning, and he committed suicide. And this has never happened to me. I don't even have any close friends that have done that. It just rocked me. Like, I was already passionate, and I'm a nerd with this stuff, and I love it. And you know, I only spend like a third of my time teaching this stuff anyway. The 2/3 is building company. I have 2 software companies. Like, we have real businesses we're applying this to, but I love to teach and stuff. But man, after that happened, like, I was messed up because I'm like, man, if he would have only known, like, I felt like I failed him because I wasn't clear enough, or I didn't like in his mind, the situation was he had about a $700,000 business, if I remember correctly. And he had tons of debt. And the reason he had debt is because he was buying all this fancy stuff to impress people that probably didn't even like him in the first place. Yes, he had like boats and really nice trucks and all this stuff. And he had put all this pressure on himself to maintain this image, you know? And he was a good-looking dude. Like, he actually had a good business, and it was a profitable business, but the debt was killing him. And he started doing some coke, and he confided in me. He sent me, I still have the messages saved, and he's like, he'd gotten into some stuff, but he's like, I know this is a bad choice. I'm not doing that anymore. And then before you know it, he made the choice, the permanent choice. He had a young family. What I know that he didn't know is that we could have fixed all of his financial problems in less than 90 days for free. Like, for real. Like, it's not even hard. He didn't think that was true. I know that it's true, right? I have a literal mountain of proof that it's true. He just didn't know it. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this, because he left a fatherless child and a husbandless wife for no reason. Now, he had his reasons, but he didn't understand. This is so simple. If we understand, if we know things other people don't know, we can do things other people can't do, and we can have things other people can't have. And most people are so busy going from job to job, passively listening on YouTube or listening to a podcast, but they don't really hear us. They're not understanding. Like, if you really understood how powerful this is, you'd stop everything you're doing and only solve this, right? Because it really is that dramatic. It's that has that much of an effect on every other part of your business and your life. Profit isn't about hoarding. Profit isn't about greed. Profit is the natural state of a kingdom entrepreneur. Of, like, if you're a believer, just if we can have church for 5 seconds, there's no such thing as an economic pie. When you win financially, that does not mean someone lost. And people get confused. They think, oh, if I grow my business, that means someone else's business has to shrink. No, it doesn't. If I make more profit, that means someone has to go homeless. That is not what the economy doesn't work like a pie. That's just false. It works like a garden. And there's like sowing and reaping and planting and harvesting. And there's choreography and fertilizer and sunlight and rain. And like, when you start thinking about how to tend to this garden of your business, way more fruit is produced. And that's what F.R.A.P is really. It's not about tricking customers. It's about delivering a better experience. It's about justifying your prices through greater perceived value. I like to go to nice restaurants and pay $85 for a steak. I think that's fun to do on Saturdays, which is date night with my wife, Ashley, who is my high school girlfriend. They're not screwing me over. I pay them $85 for the steak and say thank you and tell my friends to go there, and I think about it because it's great and I want to go back. But when I go to that restaurant, everything is different than a Waffle House. By the way, I freaking love Waffle House, but I'm not paying $85 for a steak at Waffle House, right? Like it doesn't make sense. It like breaks the frame of what I think Waffle House is, right? But if you go to this nice restaurant, like the silverware is heavier and the linens are thicker and like the servers are more articulate. The smell is different. The ambient lighting is different. The menu selection is different. The language they use on the menu is all different. If you go to a nice restaurant, they use more adjectives. If you go to a Waffle House, it says steak and eggs. You go to Nick and Sam's in the Dallas area where it costs $1,000 to have a nice night out. If you go there, they don't have steak and eggs. They have, North Atlantic wild caught blackened salmon. And so just the way they articulate the thing creates more value. And then when it feels more valuable, I consume it different. I eat it a little slower. I take my time, right? And I hope that's not too abstract, but my point is profit is good, not bad. It solves all of the problems in your marriage, personal life, and your family. You can't be generous unless you have profit. You can't build orphanages unless you have more than you need. And I want people to understand that having more than enough is normal. And all these people that you think are balling out, they're not smarter than you. Probably what they've done is they've slowed down and went deep on stuff like this. And now they have way more than you. It's not that deep. It ain't the people you look up to are not that impressive. I promise. I know one of them, right? And they're painfully average at most things, but they obsess over the math and the choreography of business.
Bro, are you in a flow state right now, or you just talk like this?
I'm just fired up. I had some really cool stuff happen today. I was on a call right before this one with Russell Brunson for an hour.
The founder of ClickFunnels.
Yeah, on Zoom and his team, and we're talking about stuff, and it was like a whole thing. And we're gonna evangelize the world with the gospel of F.R.A.P. Like the good news of the word gospel just means good news, and it's like I'm excited for it. We've spent 3 years. I've spent $3 million of my own money getting my current company to where it is right this second. And it's this combination of like community, mastermindy, software, F.R.A.P goodness. And we're ready. And so we're ready to do the thing that I've been building for 3 years. And so, yeah, I'm in flow state because I'm excited. I'm in flow state because it matters. I'm in flow state because we're ready. We have hundreds and hundreds of businesses we've already helped with F.R.A.P, way outside of home services, by the way. I started in home services, but we have doctors and chiropractors and lawyers. We have a donut guy. He sells donuts at 2 locations, right? He's doing F.R.A.P, making hundreds of thousands more in personal take-home profit just by thinking like what we're talking about. We have my friend Rick in Florida who just bought a helicopter because of F.R.A.P. Literally, okay? His business went from 4.8 million to over 9 million the last like 3 seasons. He's a genius marketer. He did all the work, but like we talk about F.R.A.P. And so we call it the F.R.A.P copter, and he flew me around in it like a month ago when I went to Florida to visit him. And F.R.A.P is just doing all this cool stuff, and like no one knows about it. And I'm also writing a book, like I said, about F.R.A.P. That's about half done. So like so much cool stuff is going to come this year. And if anybody's like nervous about the economy and scared, like there's answers to this stuff. You don't need some course. You don't need to read 500 books. Like you need a community of people that think big and that are doing stuff like F.R.A.P. And that's like it. Like if you do that, you'll make a lot more money for real. Like no hype. Hype is stupid. I'm fatigued, and so is everybody else, I think, at the liars and charlatans all over the internet. Like I can't go through Instagram without seeing some guy with 2% body fat and a rented Lamborghini telling me to take an ice bath and the real key to success is all this bull crap. I'm like so over it, and it's nonsense. We need F.R.A.P. We need choreography. You need to make profit and then do whatever you want. Pay off your debt, scale your business, whatever. That's what we need. It's so simple, right? It's simple.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm letting the silence make the points sink in even more. Frequency, referral, average ticket, pricing,
Yeah.
F.R.A.P.
Yeah, and there's like way, way more to all this. I mean, another hot tactic if you want to just like over deliver to whoever's watching this, right? I see some people in this StreamYard thing. Like I see like Travis Tells Truth. What's up, Travis? And Jim, and I don't know if I can see everybody, or Nick. What's up, Nick? Another thing you can do and should consider doing, unless you hate money, is supply and demand pricing. So like there's a guy in Washington State that I'm working with right now. And he does soft washing and like roof cleaning and like pressure cleaning and stuff. And his business is bigger, right? So they do over 3 million a year already. And we're just starting to roll this out for him. But it's likely that the one thing that I'm just going to tell you in 5 seconds from now, this one thing will probably net him $300,000 more in profit this year. This one thing. Okay. That's like a lot. It matters. You know why it matters? Because most business owners are not greedy anyway. What's happening when you get all this extra money is you're paying your employees above market rate. You have an emergency fund so you can make clear-headed decisions. You can upgrade your equipment and your safety and your training and your tools. Like everything about your business gets better for the people in your business because your business isn't just about you. Right? Like your vision for your life shouldn't just be about you. That's like child's play. Like it's not even hard to just take care of yourself. Well, get married and have kids. It's a little harder, but you're capable of more than that. You should know enough to take care of yourself and your family and your kids, plus extra, plus more, plus the orphans, and that should be normal in my opinion. And anyway, so this extra money, it's for that. It's deployable capital, right? But what we do is like during this season, like most service companies have a revenue curve. You've heard me talk about that before, right? Like they have a, can I draw on my notepad? I don't know
Let's
if
get it.
StreamYard or not, but like, oh shoot, I lost you. Where'd you go? Okay. I don't know if this will work. Can you see what I'm drawing here?
Yeah, let me flip it around. So that's big and this is small. 1 second, guys. I want you to see this. How do I flip this? There you go.
There we go. So what'll happen is like for my original service company in Michigan, like we're dead in the winter and then we get busy and then crazy busy and then I get dead at the late summer and then really busy and then dead again. So this is like November or December like this. And this is like, for us, it was like, June, May, like, right. And what's happening is you have the same price year round. Okay. That means your price is like this down here. And when you have the same price, regardless of when people want your stuff, that just definitionally means you're losing money for no reason. That's what it means. So I'll tell people like, raise your price. And they're like, okay. And they get the courage and they raise it. And that's good. Right. So now you're making this extra bit in margin. That's cool. Way to go. But we're not done. Like there's way more opportunity here. And then what some people will do is they'll like charge more during the busy time, right? So they'll raise the price during these revenue cycles, these increased demand moments, right? You tracking so far?
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, but I don't like this way of doing it because it feels to your customers like you're like price gouging them, or if they had an older price for 1,000 and now you're like, well, it's the summer, so it's 2,000. That kind of leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. What I have people do, and what I have my friend Johnny from Washington doing, is we raise this price way up here, like crazy high.
But real quick, for reference, those of you listening on your headphones, out working, whatever you're doing, if you want to see the video representation of what he's doing, the actual graph chart that he's showing and sharing on the screen, just go to the F.R.A.P podcast YouTube channel and go to Double Your Business This Year with F.R.A.P, but with Joshua Latimer, the video version, and fast forward to 30 minutes, and then you'll see where he's drawing it. Okay, continue.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So what we did is we raised the price way up. And then instead of like just jerking the price up during these times, what we do is we're actually always on sale. Okay. And during the slow times, he might be like 40% off. Right. And during the busy times, he's only 10% off. But that way we're still getting the price up here that we need, but the frame in which the customer receives a price is still that they're getting a discount even at the higher price, right? And so this is what's known as supply and demand pricing. And you got to be smart about how you do this stuff. And depending on your industry, this stuff just works, guys. Like it does. People just don't have.
Oh.
So it's like if I'm running an email promotion to my list here, it's like, hey, we're 40% off because of this reason, because it's their slow time. Boom. I'm still getting the price that I want. It's not actually 40% off. It's 40% off of my inflated price. And so big businesses already understand all this stuff. Like they're not confused, right? It's the little guys that are pricing themselves to death that don't get it, because most people do what's called cost plus pricing. And they think in their head, they're like, all right, how much does it cost me to do this? And they estimate, and they're like, it costs this much. So this is all expense. And then because of guilt and shame, they're like, I'll take this much. Right? and it's like all of our stuff shouldn't even be priced on cost plus. The correct price for anything that's for sale should be based on the value that thing provides, right, to the person, right? And pricing is very subjective. Some people are like, that's a waste, and other people are like, that's a bargain. And they're talking about the same thing because price is subjective. And to person A, $1,000 is crazy, and person B, it's too cheap, right? And so you got to understand that's how people are. And when you learn how to acquire, direct, and choreograph, and the way you answer the phone is different, and the thickness of your literature is different, it's these little seemingly insignificant things that justify these higher prices. And now you can pay your people more. You can market. You can make a mistake. Nothing bad happens. If your transmission goes out, it's annoying, but it's not catastrophic, And yeah, again, F.R.A.P has a lot. We've only talked about like a couple parts of just the pricing part, right?
It's an abundant business model. Hey guys, after this, Josh and I are going to go live inside of our private group, the Untrapped Alliance. I've been running the Untrapped Alliance for a year now. It's a private membership group where if you want to get off of annoying social media and really focus on your group, we go live every other Wednesday night at 8 p.m. EST, and it's amazing. Our members are loving it. They're getting a lot of results, and so you will have access to the replay next week, because if you're not already in, but you just open up your browser and type in keithkelfis.com/alliance. I'll also put it in the link below. And then you can get access to the replay where we're going to go way deeper, and he's going to go deeper with F.R.A.P and actually break down how to implement this stuff in your business in the private training. So keithkelfis.com/alliance, check the link in here, and then you can scroll right down and get the replay as soon as it's available, and it's going to be fire. All right, continue.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you just want to like over teach and keep breaking people's brain with stuff, but I can take this in any direction that you want. I mean, I can teach for 12 hours, but people's brain matter out of their ear.
That was a lot, and it was really, really, really good. And I think we should stop right here, because just taking what you said, I think there's one other question I want to ask you, and it was really refreshing to just chill and let you teach and talk, bro, because wow, I'm blown away, and I know everybody else listening is. There's one circle, a loop I wanted to close that I didn't understand when you were showing the graph, and maybe some other people had the same question. It was, you were talking about it's like an abundant model of pricing, and then you drop down and you discount. So you're dropping down and discounting to the price you actually want to make. Is that correct?
Right.
And I was referring in my head on like Amazon, there was something I wanted to buy, and it's like $250, but then they did this crazy discount. It's like only $179, and I was like, and then it went back up to the $250, and I was like, I ain't buying it now, but next time that thing goes on sale, and now it's like almost primed me to buy it. So what's going on with that? Can you close that final loop as far as the pricing? Like, do you ever sell it at the highest price, or are you constantly just showing a discount as like a juxtaposition? It's,
everybody can
frame it.
Can do it slightly different. I mean, the way that you do this needs to match your personality type, your market, the nuance of you and your vibe and what you do. It's not about being a used car salesman. I'm just teaching a general principle. Here's the general principle. Your stuff is more valuable at certain times of the year, and it's less value at other times of the year. That's the principle. And why are we selling the stuff for the same price when it's more time valuable here and less valuable here? It doesn't make sense, right? Sometimes restaurants call this surge pricing, or restaurants will have two sets of menus, and one is for Friday, Saturday, and the other menu is for Tuesday. I mean, this is supply and demand, meaning it's more valuable to a buyer of the steak to get the table on Saturday night. So they happily pay more for the steak. They don't even know that they are paying more for the steak, but it's important that the manager of that restaurant, as the fiduciary of the business, is leveraging every ethical thing they can do to give themselves profit opportunities, right? So that's the principle. Now, how you do it, a way to do it that I'm doing right now with a multi-million-dollar business in Washington, is we're just raising his prices way up across the board, intentionally to shell shock people when they get the price. Okay, that's part one. So if he was $1,000 thing, now he's $1,600 or what, $1,400, right? And it's like, yeah. So the package to wash your house, Mrs. Jones, is, it's a $1,400 is the investment. And here's what you get in the package. And they start walking slowly through the individual elements of the stack, the value. They articulate and unpack the ingredients of it. And they're intentionally letting the person feel the awkwardness. This is called a price marinade. And so as the person's in, and then when they're about to throw up or they're about to hang up, it's like, now, luckily for you, this is one of our slower times of the year. And we're actually 40% off right now. So that's really cool. So that drops the price down to this. And the person's like, oh my gosh, yes, right? And so it's a framing device, and it's a strategy. And the same thing would happen in their busy season, except it's like, lucky for you, this week, because we are in a busy season, but we still have a 10% discount since you're a new customer, right? Or we're 20% off this week. As long as you agree to let us take before and after pictures to show off our work, it helps our small family business with marketing. Would you be against that? Right? And that's called a logical justification. And so this is very deep. I don't want to confuse people. The point is there's money literally everywhere in every single person's business that's watching this, and it's invisible to them. And the reason it's invisible to them is because you're so close to it. Even me, when I'm working on my own company, I'm like an idiot. This is true for all of it. Our IQ goes down 100 points when we're trying to fix our own business. Am I right? Right? It's like, we're like, what do I, right? That's why community is important. Like the way that we actually deliver F.R.A.P to people is in these small communities. I don't have a coaching program for you to like be in my community. No, what I'm saying is what we do is we help people, we call them decentralized coaches. So we take someone within Ohio that needs F.R.A.P and we certify them in F.R.A.P so they like get it. Step one, they're like, oh. Step two, they personally make more money with F.R.A.P. It happens really fast, usually within a few weeks. After their bank account went up because of what the stuff we're talking about, when that happens, they have certainty now. Like they understand F.R.A.P at a different level. We call it level 1 proof. So they get certified in F.R.A.P, then they develop proof for themselves that it worked for them. Okay. Then the next step is we help them launch a local F.R.A.P chapter. And all it is a group of other like non-competing businesses, and you start F.R.A.P-ing each other's business. And we have software and stuff, but like that small community is where the real creativity gets crazy, because you have the HVAC guy that has a foot in the door offer idea for the lawn care guy, and then the fertilizer guy gets something from the dentist, right? And like it's crazy what happens. And they're just all focusing on community and profitability. And then they start joint venture marketing with each other, right? And the dentist is sending an email about the fertilizing company to his email list, right? And then vice versa. And so this is happening in this small little group that meets a couple times a month in person. And that is the best chance anyone could ever have at making it in business. Like there's not another level that's better unless, someone like me just became you and did it for you, like lived your life and did. Like if you're in a community of people all trying to do the same F.R.A.P things and your joint referral marketing to each other at the same time, you win. You win like multiple ways. And that's what our company does. It launches these little decentralized coaches, because they're not gurus. They're just people, but they gather 5 or 10 or 20 other businesses over time, and they start using the F.R.A.P stuff that we provide like as a group, and they're just learning. And it's like BNI. Are you familiar with BNI?
Yes.
BNI most people have a love-hate relationship with BNI because the meetings are like a Soul Sucker 9000. Like they're so boring. It's so boring. The other thing is like you have to get up at 7 a.m. and it's once a week. Like the meetings are too often, they're too early, and it's just for swapping referrals, which is like 1/100th of what FRAP is. I mean, that's a part of FRAP. Referrals are important, but profitability as a whole, joint venture marketing in a structured way is like 1,000 times more horsepower than showing up for your free coffee and being like, yeah, my neighbor's uncle needs a plumber. Here's his number. You know what I mean? Like that's pathetic compared to what we're talking about here. And that's what our business is launching those things.
Wow.
Learn it, do it, teach it.
Yesterday, I went to a landscaping open house thing, and there's landscapers everywhere. I have a landscape business, of course, and I ran into some buddies there, landscaper buddies. There's a window cleaning guy there, and we had food, and we were sitting down at the table, and just naturally, we started talking about business stuff, and I was like, hey, the spring is crackling. What are you guys doing? And then it opened up this entire conversation where we started referring different resources and methodologies and a couple different softwares. And I noticed multiple times, and the guys next to us were listening in on it too. And like bells were going off in people's heads, like, whoa, that's amazing. If I wasn't sitting at this table right now, I wouldn't have not have heard this, that I need this thing right now for my business. So it's not like you're getting around people that are, you say the Soul Sucker 9000. It's funny.
Well, yeah,
So,
and like BNI, like I honor BNI for like it's added value to the world for sure. But it attracts people that are takers, you know? It's like, give me a referral, give me a referral. It's like me, give me. So it's just an outdated model, in my opinion. And there's just better ways to do it. The other thing is like, even when you and I, we're only in person together rarely because we're both busy and travel and we live in different places and stuff. But when you're physically knees to knees and toes to toes in a room, magic happens. It just does. I mean, I've paid as much as 150 grand to be in masterminds before. And we only meet 2 times a year in person, and we still pay that much. Why would I do that? Because proximity is power, belief is transferable. Like, so when you're in a physical, in the same room, it's so awesome. And you have your alliance program, and as epic as that is, imagine if every meeting you ran was in the same room. The energy, it's not the same thing, right? So if you're focused on profitability and frapping and choreography and cross promoting, and you're physically in the same room, it's like rocket fuel. It's good and it works.
dude, I love it. It's called F.R.A.P Chapters.
Yes. frapchapter.com, frapchapters.com to learn about it.
Let me put this in the comments. frapchapters.com. I put it in the comments. Everybody wants to check it out. Where can everybody find you, Joshua Latimer?
Well, if specifically for the FRAP stuff, there's 2 different places. So our regular website is warplan.com. And if you go there, I have this like assessment. It's called a hidden revenue assessment that I built. One of my developers built, but I designed it. It was my baby, my little brainchild. And you can fill that out and it helps you estimate like wherever your business revenue is now, it figures out how much extra profit could be missing because of the lack of FRAP. And so you got to answer all these questions. It takes like 5 to 7 minutes to go through. It's not like some dorky thing. It's like an assessment with all these calculators. And you can go to warplan.com, click on the hidden revenue assessment. You can do that. You can also find all my content there. You know, I have a YouTube channel and I have the Warplan podcast. But if you go to warplan.com, it has like a content hub of all my stuff. If you're interested specifically in like the FRAP chapter thing, or you've ever thought about getting paid for your knowledge, your expertise, or coordinating a little group of misfits locally to like really help each other, you can make a lot of money helping other people with FRAP. That's a different thing. That's what frapchapters.com is for.
Nice. Everybody check it out. frapchapters.com or warplan.com. Joshua Latimer's YouTube channel. What do they type in to go to find your YouTube channel?
It's just my full name. It's Joshua Latimer.
Yep. And then what's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is Meet Joshua Latimer. MEE.
Is that the one where your foot is up and you're like, hey?
I don't even, I think that's my Facebook, isn't it? I don't remember, to be
What's your
honest.
Facebook?
My Facebook's just my name too. You
And then
can
your TikTok? Just Joshua Latimer.
I think so. I don't do
Dude,
a
you've
lot.
been putting out some fire videos lately on the Vibe board.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, we're about to get really loud. You know, most people, when their business model isn't figured out and it's not profitable and F.R.A.P, they spend money on marketing, and it doesn't work because the unit economics don't work.
Mm.
I've been living under a rock for 3 years. I barely make a noise. Why? Because I'm building the company infrastructure. We have a team in the studio and we have events. I have so many testimonials of what we do before we even start promoting what we do. I have hundreds of them, you know, and I'm writing the book. And so it's a lot of work, but now we have like the model and like the math will work, and we know our customer gets this huge result. But now, right now, like the reason I'm in such a good mood, we're about to get louder and we're not going to shut up, and we're going to drive gurus nuts. Gurus hate me because I'm telling them, stop buying Andy Elliott's course and Grant Cardone's 10x your lemonade stand. Like, you don't need that crap. Fire your marketing agency. They're probably screwing you. They're probably lying to you. You don't need them. They're liars. And that sounds bold, but it's usually true. I mean, have you noticed there's more marketing agencies now than there was 5 years ago by like a factor of 10? Everybody and their brother is like a lead gen guy. And see, small businesses think, I need more leads. I need more leads. They're panicking. They're panicking. They're freaking out. But it doesn't solve anything. It's like if you scale something that doesn't work, you just go broke faster, right? And this is why marketing feels like gambling. This is why people have PTSD from marketing. They run a Facebook ad, they do a direct mail, and they get punched in the face. It doesn't work. Their money's gone. They didn't have the money to be gone. They freak out, right? And then they just work 8 days a week instead of 7 to keep surviving. It's this horrible cycle. Like, fire them all. You don't need any of that crap. You need F.R.A.P, and you need to be around people that are also doing F.R.A.P. That's it. Like, once you can breathe, sure, buy a new truck, invest, experiment with marketing, all that stuff. When I work with people one-on-one, not always, but usually I turn off all their ads until after we've F.R.A.P'd their process. Because we didn't even get into the rest of F.R.A.P, like average ticket with cross-selling and upselling and high ticket offers, decoy offers, positioning. Like, there's all this stuff that's simple that when you do it, way more money happens. Way more money happens. And then with referrals, like, how do you get 10 times more referrals from your customers than you're currently getting? There's answers to these questions. It's not that deep. You just got to like learn it and then do it. And then frequency, how do you get them to buy more stuff faster than they otherwise would, right? When this stuff is embedded in your business, your $1,000 customer is worth 2,400. Your 10% profit is 38% profit. Like, crazy stuff happens. Then we start getting loud. Then we start advertising, and it works because there's like meat on the bone.
Wow. You're scaling something that works. That's an abundant business model versus scaling scarcity and chaos. And
well, actually, when I first met Russell, I told you about Russell. So when I first had my first Zoom call with him like 9 years ago, my business was not working. I own a company called Send Gym. It does automated direct mail. It's really, really cool. But I was making no money. It cost me $1 million to build it. I had never taken a paycheck from the business for 6 years. For 6 years, like, everything was messed up. So I give him 25 grand to help me. And then after he looked at everything, he goes, Josh, he's like, your business model is the equivalent of you buying a watermelon for $1, but you're selling it for 50 cents. And I'm like, go on. Okay. And he's like, Josh, you think the way to fix this problem is to fill up a whole truck full of those watermelons, right? Like, if you have a truckload of watermelons that you paid $1 a piece for, and then you go sell them for 50 cents, Houston, we have a problem, right? And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, I know, I need 2 trucks full of watermelons. Oh, I need 10. All that means is you go broke faster. Like, I don't know if it was Ernest Hemingway, but there's a quote where 2 guys are in a bar, and the one guy says to the other, he goes, Bob, how'd you go broke? And Bob said, gradually, and then suddenly. It's like, I love that quote. And like, if you're not making enough per transaction in actual profit. After, by the way, profit is after your paycheck for your own self. Really small companies don't understand that. Like if you make 100 grand of revenue and you keep 50 of it or whatever, profit's what's left after all expenses and after you're 50. And so anyway, but like we got to fix those unit economics, and then everything else gets easier. The reason these people are ahead of you is not because they're smarter, it's because they have better math than you. That's truly it. And the reason, and they can sell at these higher prices because they understand the art and the choreography better than you. That's it. You can learn it too.
Brother, I'm honored and I'm blown away and filled with gratitude. And for everybody listening right now, I hope this episode, and we're gonna push it far and wide, bro. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Untrapped podcast, dog.
Thanks, man. You've helped so many people. You're a legend. I'm not just saying that, and I know your heart, like off camera. Like I know who you are for real. And if people only knew how much you cared about who you're helping and serving, and how much effort goes in, like they have no idea. Your wife knows. Ashley knows. I know she knows the truth, and I do too, because I've been in your world for a long time. And much love, man.
Likewise. Thank you. Thanks everybody for listening to the Untrapped podcast. And like I said, warplan.com, is that the best place for them to go, or F.R.A.P chapters?
Yeah, both.
Both. Awesome. And then if you like the show, go to where we just crossed 1 million downloads on Apple, Spotify, any platform that you listen to. Please go and leave a well-worded review. It helps increase the stats. Nice. And you can listen to the Untrapped podcast. All right. I'm Keith Kelfis. This has been an episode with Joshua Latimer. Check him out and see you guys next time.